Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another day where we get to decide who we are being in this world and what we're creating in our life. Welcome back to also another Baddie Energy podcast. And again, a baddie is not just a female. I think everybody kind of views that word differently. For me, a baddie is just somebody that unapologetically recognizes themselves, their worth, their value. They prioritize themselves, they believe in the best of themselves, they believe in the best of other people, and they're able to handle situations with confidence, with fearlessness, all while also knowing they're going to be able to create what they desire, okay? Now, in today's podcast, I have quite a few things that I want to talk about, so I'm just going to read out what we're going to be discussing today and how that relates to mindset and consciously creating your life and creating the results that you desire. So we're going to go over the statement, I am, okay, and why that is so relevant when it comes to consciously creating your life, understanding where your identity comes from. We're also going to talk about people that naturally create what you desire to create. Why does that occur? Because commonly I'll see people say things like, okay, I want to consciously manifest these things, but when I see other people have these results, I don't think they've put in this amount of conscious deliberation into it. Why do they naturally create those results? Why do I have to do this internal shifting and look at what I believe about myself, the internal dialogue that I'm entertaining, okay? We're going to also talk about beliefs translating into how you show up, perceive, and respond to your reality, how that goes into your internal dialogue, and we're also going to talk about conscious persisting, okay? Now, let's talk about the first point, which is, who am I? Where does this come from? Where does this I am identity that I dominantly exist in come from? And why is this relevant? Okay, so I'm going to go from the scope of Neville Goddard, okay? He's somebody that really focuses on I am, and in my opinion, okay, when we're looking at our identity, that is a byproduct of all of the experiences that we've had up to this point, okay? That can come from childhood, your experiences going through school, your experiences in your early adult life, whatever time in your life, okay? A lot of our identity comes from our childhood, but if we have a lot of reoccurring experiences or negative experiences or positive experiences in our adult life, those can also influence how we view ourselves, how we view and perceive the world, and who we are identifying as, okay? Why is this relevant? When we look at people that naturally create the results that we desire to create in our life, if they are able to do that in a way that is easy, okay, that to me tells me that that person has had experiences, continued reinforcement that support an identity where those results are a natural byproduct in their life. It's a normalized experience for them, okay? And this really relates to when we're thinking about Neville Goddard and living in the end. My opinion and approach to creating the results in your life that you desire is not that you need to obsessively affirm for those results and pretend like they're here and live in complete delusion, okay? It shouldn't feel delusional. We'll talk about that in a second, okay? It's more, who do I need to identify as? Who am I in this world? What do I believe about myself or these areas of my life generally that is going to allow me to naturally create that result? And that really goes into persisting, but there's a few reasons why this is important, okay? Especially when we take into consideration how beliefs translate in terms of how you are showing up, perceiving, and responding to your reality. Here's the reality of the situation too. You can create whatever you want with your life. You can do whatever you want. Manifesting works. Consciously creating your life works. You're able to turn around situations. If you want to be with a specific person in a specific career, at a specific school, whatever specifics, okay, you can create it, okay? I think you need to take into context what you're willing to persist through and really ask yourself, is this the healthiest option for me? But as long as you are clear within yourself and you understand what you are doing and you have come to terms with the things that you are willing to persist through, then you can create it, okay? When we think about how beliefs translate to how we are showing up, perceiving, and responding to our reality, there's two aspects to our belief system. There's beliefs that we hold about ourselves, and then there's beliefs that we hold about different areas of our life. Okay, this is why you really, when it comes to especially a relationship, yes, we need to look at how we value ourselves, what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about how love shows up for us, what we believe about relationships, intimacy, affection, feeling secure, feeling confident, communication, all these beliefs that we hold about ourselves, right? But we also have to take into consideration beliefs that we hold about men, women, okay? These different aspects as to how somebody shows up for us in this area of our life, okay? Because your entire perception of your reality is an instant manifestation of who you are dominantly being, your state of being, okay? And so when you want to change a particular area of your life, it's typically very difficult to think about that area of your life differently when you are holding beliefs that are in contradiction with that train of thought. For instance, okay, if I want to create a committed relationship with somebody and I've had a negative history with that person, then thinking about them very differently is going to be difficult if I hold a belief somewhere in my belief system like people do not change, people do not grow, and you can even go into specific beliefs about genders, right? Men don't change, okay? Men aren't able to take ownership and accountability. Women don't change, women aren't able to take ownership and accountability, okay? This is very important because your mind is always, when we think about this from a psychological perspective, outside of just the teachings of Neville Goddard, your mind is always searching for evidences of what you believe, how you view yourself, and what you believe about different aspects of your life and the world at large, okay? So when we think about people that create natural results, where they take somebody that is non-committal, or somebody that is hard to get, or somebody that is highly desired by a lot of people, and they're able to create the relationship that they desire with that person, it is not because they are obsessing over that person and hoping they choose them and trying to convince themselves that this person wants to be with them. It is because that person has an identity, a belief system that supports the desired outcome. I am somebody that gets chosen in love. I am somebody that is secure. I am somebody that people are willing to change and do anything to be with. I am somebody that receives commitment. I am somebody that knows their worth and value. I am somebody that is able to create the relationship that they desire. And because they hold those beliefs, they are going to be showing up, perceiving, and responding to their reality in that manner, okay? This also relates to your internal dialogue. So the entire way that you perceive another person, again, what your mind searches for evidences of, is going to be geared towards what you believe. So if you believe at a core level that people can change, then when you are around somebody and they exhibit some sort of behavior that elicits them being able to change, you're going to notice that. You're going to bring awareness to it, you're going to respond to it, you're going to subconsciously begin to encourage it and bring out that version of that person, okay? And again, that's if you're willing to. So when we think about creating natural results in our life and the internal dialogue that we have, again, a lot of people kind of struggle with viewing a particular area of their life differently, or a specific person, or being able to create a specific result in their life, and they go to trying to just obsessively affirm for a result without taking into consideration why they are struggling to create that result. Okay, what do they believe about themselves in that area of their life that is even causing them to view this as a problem, as something they can't achieve, as something that they can't naturally expect and entertain as an experience in their life. The other point to that is when you actually hold those beliefs, your internal dialogue is going to naturally shift to be able to entertain those outcomes. Okay? So when we think about consciously persisting in the things that we want to create, especially within the scope of Neville Goddard, okay? I did a video yesterday about why are you waiting for commitment, okay? And that video was not to discourage anybody to give up on a person or move on or just date other people frivolously. I was more pointing towards who are you actually being? Because when you look at the teachings of Neville Goddard, if the premise and the base of that teaching is I am somebody that receives commitment. I am somebody that is able to create the relationship that I desire. I am somebody that knows their worth and their value. I am somebody that deserves a loving partner that shows up for me consistently without me asking. Then how you are operating when you are awake is going to be congruent with that identity. You're not going to be waiting for somebody to commit to you. And again, that doesn't mean that you have to be petty or argumentative or block this person or completely remove them from your life. But in order to create the change that you desire to have in your life, you need to be identified with a version of you that can naturally produce that result. And so when you find yourself focusing on a particular area of your life, very bothered by it, continuing to show up the same way, continuing to react the same way, continuing to see it as a problem, continuing to wonder when it's going to change, that is because in those moments when you're operating that way, you are taking on an identity that does not support the result that you desire. And the wiser option would be to begin to adopt those beliefs and then look at how you're actually showing up and operating. It shouldn't feel crazy or delusional for you to internally persist in the knowing that somebody's going to commit to you if you are identified as somebody that receives commitment. Likewise, you're not going to be forming a heavy negative attachment to somebody that is not committed to you at this moment. Attachment is not a bad thing, okay? We're human. We naturally are inclined to get close to other people and become attached to them. Negative attachment is when you are obsessed with something, when you can't function in your regular life, you are bothered by it continually, and it is touching on something within you that you are struggling to believe about yourself. And instead of addressing that thing internally, you're looking out into your reality and trying to manipulate or force a change in your reality in order to soothe that thing that you are struggling with internally, okay? So again, the premise of yesterday's video was not to discourage you from believing in your ability to create the result that you desire. It was more to look at how are you actually identifying? Who are you showing up as? What do you believe about yourself in this area of your life? And if you actually believed those things, what is there to wait for? Yes, you can create a specific result in your life, but that doesn't mean that you have to put yourself through hell or wait for it or accept less than what you actually desire in order to create that result. And at the same token, that also doesn't mean that you need to be confrontational or reactive. Why aren't you committing to me? Do you not think I'm good enough? No, you can completely change your approach. I'm talking about how you're actually operating during the day. Do you want to wake up each day feeling like you're waiting for somebody? Or do you want to design a day where you begin to address these beliefs, prioritize yourself, decide to fill your day with activities that feel good, and hold the knowing that you're going to receive the commitment that you desire, and allow yourself to embrace experiences, people, places, and things that reflect that belief system, knowing that if you want it from a specific person, it's going to unfold, but there's nothing to wait for. And this is where conscious persisting comes into play, okay? Again, when we think about somebody that creates natural results in their life, i.e., I am somebody that receives commitment, okay? they're not obsessively waiting for somebody or trying to convince themselves that somebody loves them. If somebody is not showing up properly in their life, they're going to organize themselves in a fashion that shows that they value themselves, that they know what they're worth, that they know what they deserve, and they're going to do whatever they want to do, knowing that this person is going to realize that if they want to be in their life, they're going to have to show up properly, and they don't care whether or not the person agrees with what they're doing. They prioritize themselves, and because they prioritize themselves, they get the recognition and the prioritizing that they're setting the example of, okay? So when it comes to consciously persisting, and when you think about people that create natural results in their life that you're trying to replicate and that you're going to replicate, it is not about accepting less than what you deserve. It is, who are you being? Who am I? And is how I'm showing up and what I'm doing and what I'm entertaining and what I'm perceiving and what I'm responding to congruent with the identity and the version of myself that can naturally create what I desire. When we think about naturally creating results, okay, it's a normalized thing for us that is sustained. We don't have to sit here and micromanage all our thoughts. We don't have to sit here and bring an immense amount of consciousness to something. Who we are, who I am, naturally creates that result. So I don't need to obsess over that result. I can know I'm going to receive it. I can mentally entertain it. And you'll find that when you're actually in that identity, that becomes also a natural thing that you do, okay? But when you are actually there, okay, the conscious persisting aspect is, who am I dominantly being? And if I'm doing things or I'm showing up and I'm accepting things that are not congruent with that identity, then I'm not actually being that version of me. Now, the first point to this, though, is to take on that identity. So it's not about going out into your reality and just making all of these changes physically, okay, like in a reactive manner. When you're hearing what I'm saying, I am talking about shifting your beliefs. So if you don't know what to do, if you're in a situation where somebody's not committing to you or you're not getting what you want, instead of reacting to it continually and continuing to do the same thing over and over again and having the same day every day, you want to begin to step in and adjust those beliefs, adjust the way that you're identifying. Okay, and this is where things like nervous system regulation come into place, okay? Short little daily meditations, nighttime affirmations, okay? But I've talked about those things multiple times on my channel. So if you're here, I'm assuming that you already have an understanding of the belief work, right? If I want to create this particular result, I'm going to begin to adopt these beliefs. I'm going to begin to stabilize my nervous system. I'm going to begin to normalize this area of my life, and I'm going to organize myself in a new fashion and hold the knowing that I'm able to create it. Okay? There's no limitation on how these things can unfold. My bigger concern is that while you're creating a life that you love, you're not putting yourself through hell or accepting things that you don't want in order to get there, because you don't have to do that. You can focus on yourself, build yourself up, build up how you're identified, and live in the end of a version of you that can embrace and enjoy multiple different aspects of life, multiple different experiences, while holding the knowing that you're going to get what you want. And when I've done this in my past, those specific results came in very quickly. It wasn't that I detached, it's that I changed my attachment to that particular thing. It became healthy. Okay? If I'm attracted to you, but you're not giving me commitment at this moment, I'm not going to think that you're a piece of crap guy or a piece of crap girl, that you're playing games with me. I'm not going to go in the direction of thinking you're a narcissist, that you're going to manipulate me. I'm not going to have all these negative perceptions. I'm going to realize that in this moment right now, there may be things going on within you. Okay? Maybe you have some limiting beliefs about love. Maybe you're afraid of love. Maybe there's particular things as to why you're showing up this way. Okay, and if I want to persist with you, I can be compassionate and understanding of that. But more importantly, if I want to create this result, okay, who am I identified at? I'm somebody that gets commitment. Okay, so I'm not going to react to this. Okay, I'll have you in my life. I'll enjoy your presence, but I'm not waiting for you. I'm not obsessing over you. I'm not hoping that you're going to choose me. If I want to embrace other experiences in my life that reflect my worth and my value, people prioritizing me and showing up for me properly, I'm going to live in the end of that version of me, all while holding the knowing that you can change, you're going to grow, you're going to give me the commitment that I deserve, and I don't have to wait for that. I can enjoy my life in this moment and fully embody this version of me. And that to me is what Neville Goddard means when he says living in the end. There's a reason why most of his teachings are in the wording of I am. So if I am somebody that gets what I want, then I don't have to accept things that I don't want in the meantime, hoping they change. I can release it, I can focus on myself, I can embrace other experiences, and persist in the knowing that this thing is going to change, all while embodying this actual identity. Okay, it may take you a little bit of time to get there, and again, your beliefs and who you identify as is a byproduct of your previous experiences. So if it's a little bit difficult for you to step into a new version of yourself because you've had a lot of negative experiences, this is why recently I put out content surrounding taking a growth approach. So if you've never experienced commitment or somebody valuing you properly, then taking on a belief like, I'm always valued properly, commitment's the easiest thing for me to materialize, you may find that your mind and body fight you on that type of belief a little bit. That's why the nervous system regulation is important, and you can also take into consideration yourself. If you need to take more of a growth approach, I'm beginning to believe, I'm starting to believe, I'm open to the idea, I'm starting to accept, then you're gonna find it's a lot easier for you to integrate with this version of yourself. The negative attachments will begin to drop, the obsession will begin to drop, and you will actually start to step into a version of yourself and an identity that reflects those beliefs so long that you persist with it, okay? So the results that we create in our life, there are a bunch of different ways to get there in terms of mindset, okay? You don't have to go straight to I am beliefs. You don't have to sit here and obsessively affirm for a result, okay? You have to take into consideration what is best for you, what is most comfortable for you, what is most sustainable for you, addresses the things that you've previously struggled with, and puts you into a version of yourself, an identity, a belief system where you can normally and naturally create that result and expect it as a normal part of your life experience, because who you're identified as at a core level creates that result without having to force it. Okay? Alrighty, I love you all so much. I hope you gained some knowledge from this, and I will see you all later. Bye.